So today, in the reading session, we'll try to read the third commandment because it is this series is running in our diary, in our everyday diary sayings. So it will help us consolidate our ideas and our assimilate the thoughts of the master so that we can practice better. So now I'm reading Commandment 3. Fix your goal, which should be complete oneness with God. Rest not till the ideal is achieved. It is very essential for everyone to fix his thought at the very outset upon the goal which he has to attain, so that his thought and will may pave his way up to it. It has been observed that those on the path of spirituality who did not fix that final state for their goal have definitely remained short of the mark, because before arriving at the final point, they mistook one or the other of the intermediate states to be the final point or the reality and stopped there. Thus, they suffered merely for not having fixed their goal. Even in worldly matters, so long as a person does not keep his object in view, his efforts are never so intensified as to ensure success. It is an admitted fact that a boat cannot ply direct to the destination unless the helm is applied to it. Treating this human form as a boat and the space it is plying in as the ocean of spirituality, it is but essential to put up the helm in order to be able to ply through the storming ocean successfully. In the spiritual field, the helm is our strong willpower, which helps us to steer on to the destination. There may certainly be countless whirls at places, but the strength of our will and confidence helps us to overcome all of them and proceed on straight to the destination. Now, since our eye is fixed upon spirituality, we take up the ideal which is the highest and which can be nothing but that associated directly with the absolute. Thus, to reach the infinite absolute is one of the primary duties of man. But so long as the goal is not fixed in one's thought, it is very difficult to complete the journey successfully. Divine help does come, no doubt, but only when the Supreme is convinced of the devotee's earnestness of purpose. When the reaction creates a stir in the infinite, it indicates that he has concentrated his thought in the great being. This brings to our view the example of the lover and the beloved. It means that the distance between the devotee and the Lord is reduced, and the idea of remoteness begins to fade away. Our nearness goes on increasing up to the final limit, where the very feeling of aloofness, having merged in the reality, becomes completely extinct and assumes the form of the latent motion that exists at the time of pralaya, individual. In this way, our merging in the state becomes permanent and lasting. Our swimming in the infinite ocean now starts, which brings us to the real life, which comprises the influences of the ocean we are now swimming in. Now the silent motion which we have created in it started merging into it. In it we start expanding. In this way, our layavastha in it becomes durable and lasting. It is thus clear that the firmness of will and determination to reach the holy entity helped us to arrive at the destination, with the result that we got firmly established in the final state. How this most difficult problem was so easily solved by virtue of the correctness of our goal and the firmness of determination may not now be difficult to understand. Our intention to reach the goal promoted our efforts. And since the ideal was the noblest, the interest for it went on increasing till it developed into a strong craving. Then we began to feel impatient for it. When we got into this habit, the tendencies of the mind are diverted towards it with full vigor. Thus, we come to the conclusion that for the attainment of the objective, we have to create in us intense longing or extreme impatience, which forces our passage onto it, just as the latent motion did at the time of creation. Any questions on this? Because repeatedly he's telling us to fix our mind on the goal, and whenever we use the word master, whenever we are doing prayer about the real goal of human life, along with the thought of the master, there should be an underlying intention that you want to stay there or merge in that consciousness. So that idea also should simultaneously come whenever we are thinking about the master. The intention to settle in that place, intention to merge in that goal should also simultaneously be existing in your thought actually. So this has to be cultivated actually, uses the word cultivation. So whenever we say master, immediately our idea should be that he is an omnipresent master, and then when we are thinking of him, when the idea of master comes, the idea of intention that we should merge in him also should be there simultaneously in our minds. Then only we'll be able to put meaningful effort in that direction. Just mere thinking without the intention of merging in the master will not help, because even if the goal is there, we have to reach that goal. So you will reach that goal only when you have a thought that you want to merge in that consciousness and become one with that. Layavastha means oneness. Yoga basically means union. You are getting united with your original nature. That's why there will be no, only in that situation of union only, there is no possibility of misery or suffering or all that cannot exist in the state of, then the meaning of death and all, fear and all cannot exist in that state. It will be a permanent peace actually. So to have a permanent peace, which is the aim of all humanity, that is only possible when there is emergence of your mind in your true divine nature. So whenever we use the word master, we have to simultaneously have this intention that we have to merge in him. Any other questions or any comments?
Sir,
if you don't think like that, it will not help you.
Sir, I have got one small query. When realization is our goal, why Master has some places said that the goal should not be short of liberation? So for whom this liberation is, he has given allowance rather.
No, I didn't understand your question. What is the thing?
No, our goal should be realization, but at some places Master has said that the goal should not be short of liberation. So for whom I think he has said that liberation can be a goal.
So in the natural path which you are following in the footsteps of Babuji Maharaj, the goal is, oh Master, thou art the real goal of human life. That we are talking about the condition of the Master, that is the real goal. That is all pervasive divinity is our, and we are praying to him that thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. But before reaching that stage, there is a stage comes in the journey where you will feel liberation, where you transcend time and space, which is what is called when you enter into universal consciousness. But that is an intermediate goal. So he says, minimum it should be that liberation. But truly speaking, it should be the final goal is oneness with the master. That is the idea. So the minimum goal is for our life to be meaningful is liberation, where you transcended time and space actually. But final goal is oneness with the God. That's the idea.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So will anybody wants to comment on this, because this has to be it has to be in our view, just like Babuji says, constant remembrance is if somebody is sick in your home, even though you're working in the office, you're constantly worried about his well-being, and then you think of what medicines to be given, which doctor to be taken. In the background, that will be constantly in your view actually. You worry about trying to solve the health issue of your parents or son or children. In a similar way, the goal should be constantly in our view, 24 hours actually. So that is the main item. It is not restricted to only during morning meditation or evening prayer or bedtime prayer. It has to be 24/7. You have to train yourself like that the goal you should not lose sight of the goal. It is just like when people do some trekking expeditions, when they do on a mountaineering expedition, they want to climb certain mountains. They know the peak which they have to climb, so they keep it constantly in their view with their compass or like that, and then only if they don't have that peak in their view, they may miss the path and they may go in a different direction. So in that sense, it's a common sense that we should have the goal in our view always. So now we will go to Showers of Divine Grace. Today's diary saying,